Hello Fight fans, it's John Pollock with you and welcome to Fight News Now Extra. As usual, we're going to be going through all of today's mixed martial arts headlines and then we'll welcome John Ramdine and Robin Black to chat about all of them. Today we're discussing Hector Lombard's comments towards Jake Shields, Diego Sanchez lashes out at his last opponent, and who will be the #1 contender for the UFC welterweight title after Saturday night. Well, it's certainly vague, but the UFC on Fox Twitter account put up a post on Wednesday alerting fans that Carlos Condit has been told by UFC officials that if he is victorious over Tyron Woodley on Saturday night at UFC 171, that he will receive the next welterweight title fight against the winner of Johnny Hendricks and Robbie Lawler. Ahead of UFC 171, Diego Sanchez spoke with members of the media on Wednesday and discussed his last fight with Gilbert Melendez at UFC 166 last October. Sanchez criticized Melendez's striking, stating that none of his shots fazed him and said they felt like nothing. Melendez would win the 3-round bout by unanimous decision despite a late rally from Sanchez in the 3rd round that night in Houston.
If I'm in the pocket and I need to bite down on my mouthpiece, I am 100% confident that my chin and my jaw and my neck are strong and I can take the blows because I fought at 70, I fought at 85, and I'll tell you straight honest. I'll tell you straight honest to God, Gilbert Melendez never fazed me or dazed me once. I was walking through those punches for a reason because they felt like little nothings. They felt like little nothings. I was walking through them because they felt like nothing. It was little tip-top Nick Diaz punches to me.
At the same media workout, Hector Lombard had criticism for another Cesar Gracie fighter as Lombard criticized the style of his opponent Saturday, Jake Shields, who he meets at UFC 171 in Dallas. Lombard gave credit that Shields has an impressive list of wins on his record, but that his style is boring and he doesn't enjoy watching Shields fight. This will be Lombard's 2nd fight since cutting down to welterweight after a successful debut at the new weight class last October at UFC 166, where he stopped Nate Marquardt in the opening round. And we end with a major story coming out courtesy of TMZ, who reports that 2 men were brutally beaten at the request of Floyd Mayweather Jr. The allegation is that these 2 men had been working on Mayweather's home and they were accused of stealing jewelry from the house and told to meet Mayweather at an off-site location. The 2 men arrived and were beaten down by a number of Mayweather's people and hospitalized with broken arms and legs. And I'm joined by John Ramdine and Robin Black, and just a ton of great stuff to talk about today. Man, we've got fighters criticizing other fighters. We've got Mayweather allegedly getting his buddies to beat up a pair of workers on his house. What a dark and depressing day.
I guess so. It's alleged, though.
Allegedly.
And you're saying buddies.
At worst, though, this is a script idea for a future Showtime series.
I mean, seriously, whether you're Mayweather or you're Justin Bieber or you're any of these people, you give incredible power to somebody. You give them, like, employees that work for them, people that do their bidding. A lot of people in this room, a lot of people watching would do some pretty terrible things if given that much power.
Well, that's a hell of an assumption.
Yeah, well, I assume that.
Diego Sanchez, he stated that, the fight with Gilbert Melendez, none of those shots even fazed him in that particular outing. His face would probably tell a different story. But I want to focus on the fight this Saturday. He's taking on a very much unheralded Myles Jury, an undefeated lightweight coming off of a tough season 15, and someone that this is certainly a fight where we're going to know, is Myles Jury someone to really take seriously here? And he's facing someone in Diego Sanchez that I think not only is this a winnable fight, I feel that Myles Jury, I think, is very underappreciated going into this fight.
It's true, and Robin, you have Myles Jury winning this fight. You think he's the more talented, the more technically sound fighter. The question that has to be asked is he going to be able to deal with the relentless nature of Diego Sanchez, a guy that you can beat him down for 3 rounds.
Particularly late in a fight, when Diego comes on at his strongest.
And that's what it comes down to. Will Myles Jury be able to handle that for 3 rounds, 3 exhausting rounds? And then in that 3rd round, will he have enough to deal with the stuff that Diego can do, especially if he puts this fight down on the ground? Diego can stop fights.
I do have Myles Jury winning this fight. But it's a great fight. It's a fantastic fight for a lot of reasons, but Jury has the skills to beat him. He does. Yep. Does he have the mental strength to handle that? Because if he stays on the outside, if he makes Diego Sanchez chase him, if he lands punches, when he slips his head, lands some more, just like Gilbert did through 2 rounds, he has the skills to do that for sure. But does he have the mental strength? And in some of the interviews and some of him talking, we've seen him, this is a serious fight, but it's just another opponent. That's what you want. You don't want to be caught up in the pressure, the biggest fight of your life. Oh my God, it's Diego Sanchez. The guy's foaming at the mouth and screaming, yes, and a ravenous animal. He's just a guy.
Comes out with a cross.
Comes out with a cross.
Which might be offensive to some people in Texas.
True. However, we also have to remember Diego Sanchez also normally leaves the octagon with some sort of bonus. So you know you're going to get yourself involved in a hell of a fight when Diego's your dance partner.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way to win this one is kind of try to make it a non-bonusable fight. Make him chase you. Don't get involved in those, real crazy gunfights. Land from the outside and get away, almost like what Condit did to Nick Diaz. That sort of approach. He has the skills to do it. Can he handle the pressure? Love this fight. One of my favorite fights. Certainly my favorite fight outside of the welterweight fights.
Hector Lombard, I think, using a bit of a tactical game plan here by telling, Jake Shields is a boring fighter and I think wants to get Jake Shields out of that comfort zone. If this was a 5-round fight, I think hands down this is Jake Shields' fight. But in a 3-round fight, I think that there's more of that argument to be made here. But Jake Shields, someone that has been completely overlooked in this whole welterweight picture. When you look at the wins he does have on his win column, beating Tyron Woodley a year ago, very controversial win. But here he is against Hector Lombard, looked very good cutting down the 170 against Nate Marquardt. But he is taking on arguably the top grappler at 170 pounds.
Yeah, Jake Shields, we've said it before, Jake Shields knows how to win fights. The guy's been in this business for a long, long time. He has very strong family ties. His dad was his manager and one of his mentors in life, and this guy's a former Green Beret. So Jake Shields knows how to deal with mental warfare. When you have Gilbert Melendez and Nick Diaz and all these guys as your team.
He's got to take down, though, an Olympic judoka.
That's fine.
Yeah, this is what his specialty is. First, you're not going to throw him off by saying he's boring. He could care less. He's going to find a way to win. Secondly, he said Hector Lombard's a jerk. I've actually heard that a fair bit. Nobody will spar him in the gym. That doesn't mean it's true, but I have heard that.
There have been many cards this year that I've criticized going into. This is not one of them. Very excited for UFC 171. It is coming up Saturday night on pay-per-view, and more Fight News Now Extra is coming at you.